The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen. Brought to you by Medines Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Medines. Grosse Savant Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Auto in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. And Gage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage. Here's your host, Lee Burkeen.
Hi everyone, Lee Burkeen, back from a 3-week vacation. 1 week was Mardi Gras, so we didn't have a show. But when we come back, I'm going to honor my mother, Dolores Thompson, who passed away 2 weeks ago. But our guest today is Tyler Lafosse, famous LSU football player, great community guy, Hall of Famer from LSU. I don't have enough time to explain all the great things about this man, but when we come back, we're going to have Tyler Lafosse, and we're going to talk about my mom, Dolores Thompson, that helped me start Louisiana Football Magazine 27 years ago. We'll be right back.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Hi everyone, Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. I want to first thank Mike Johnson. We're at his restaurant. It's the Giulio Italian Brothers Italian restaurant on Perkins Road. It's only a mile from LSU, not far from Acadian. They have brunch on Sunday. If you want brunch, 10:30 to 2. And they have the regular menu on brunch. And during the week, lunch 11 to 2. And then at night, they're open. I don't want to make Mike mad. I don't know when he closes. But great food, homemade meatballs, homemade chicken parmesan, homemade salads if you like romaine salads. But great. I like simple things like the garlic bread here is incredible. Before we introduce Tyler Lafosse, LSU Hall of Famer, former LSU Tiger, I want to dedicate this show to my mom, Dolores Thompson, who's in heaven right now with God. Passed away 2 weeks ago. That's why we didn't have a show the last 2 weeks. But I want to show her picture. I know Nolan's going to pull her picture up. But we have a picture of me and her at the Superdome high school championships. I don't know what year it is, but when you see this picture, this is like 25 years ago. We started the magazine 27 years ago, but if you've ever read Louisiana Football Magazine, she was the hidden gem behind the business. So she did everything. We're going to miss my mom, but she's in a better place. 10-year battle with cancer. And I think she's looking down going, you better do your job, you better work hard, and continue to do what we built. Tyler Lafosse, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I met you years ago.
I know it. Just basically almost in the beginning of your magazine.
Yeah. You met my family, my mom.
I have.
My dad.
Your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to share this with LSU fans. You know, I'm 52, which I still think is pretty young.
Yeah,
I
very
still
young.
think you're young.
Very young.
But I was too young to watch 1970 football. I was born in 70. This gentleman here was a 1970 freshman at LSU to 1973. He was an All-American in 73, first-team All-American. Very modest guy. In 72, second-team All-American. Offensive guard. Played D-line at LSU back when you played sometimes both sides of the ball. Was a humongous 5'10", 233 pounds. Had to play those Giants at Alabama every week, and Florida and Ole Miss and all those teams. And went to De La Salle High School in New Orleans, where he was also All-State as a lineman in Class 3A ball, AAA ball.
That was the highest classification back then.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Tom? 1983 LSU Hall of Famer inductee and longtime physical therapist. Am I missing anything? I'm
No,
trying to get it all
I think
in.
you've done a great job. 44 years
44
physical
years.
therapist. Yeah.
Still going strong.
Yes. I think it was a tremendous blessing for me to go into physical therapy, not knowing what I was going to do when I went to LSU.
Yeah.
And basically, when I went to LSU, it was like, that's why I was coming. I was coming to play football.
Yeah.
But I just transitioned into that physical therapy profession. It's been a great career.
For all those youngsters watching in their 20s and 30s and 40s, Tyler, tell them the story when you were being recruited. You told it to me years ago. I remember sitting at your job, and I said, Tyler, how did you become an LSU Tiger? And I remember Paul Bear Bryant, my dad telling me that Paul Bear Bryant recruited you, and then you told me the story about what it was like to tell Paul Bear Bryant no.
Yes, that was, that was a tough thing. I had visited Alabama in 69 season and spent some time with him in his office. And he told me that they were going to change their offensive philosophy. They were actually going to go to the wishbone. And he said, we would like for you to come because we have plans to develop this new offense. We think you'd be a great fit for the offensive line. And he was telling me about it. And so across from his desk, at that particular time, I was ready to go. I was ready to commit. But I knew that my mom and dad from New Orleans, I knew that they would very rarely would have seen me play because it was a distance. It wasn't like we were on TV every week like it is today, now. Yeah. And so I told him I had to go back and talk to my parents. Well, when I did, I knew going to LSU was my best thing because they saw me play week after week. But the night where we committed to the school before the signing date, that night, different coaches came to the house. It was the day before the signing date, and they were trying to get me to commit. And so that night, I committed to Coach McClendon. After everybody left late, I get a phone call, and it was Coach Bryant. And he talked to me and had mentioned that Coach so-and-so had been to the house, and he was going on and on. My heart was pounding because I knew I had to tell him right then and there. And I said, Coach, I appreciate you calling and your interest. And I said, Coach, I just committed to the LSU Tigers. And, he told me, he said, Tyler, he said, you're gonna be successful wherever you go. He said, and he went on and on and on. And then finally he said, I guess there's only one more thing I have to say. And I said, well, what is that, Coach? He said, I guess I'll have to see you on Saturday night. And I said, for 4 years. I guess so, Coach.
Oh, man.
But it was a great experience. Recruiting is nothing like it is today.
No.
And it was great for me and my family, even though it was hard.
And look at this advanced helmet back in the 70s. This is light. This is light for big linemen's heads.
Oh, I can't imagine.
The technology, huh, Tyler?
Oh, technology is.
This was Tyler's helmet.
Oh, no. My grandson, he's 9, he's playing, and his helmet is so
like a spaceship.
far advanced.
Like a spaceship.
And I look at this, and then I look at his, and it's a wonder why I can talk.
Why did we have that pad?
Oh, my. And this was one of the best helmets available back
then. At that time. And this also, before we take a break, this is a game ball 73 team captain game ball. And I'm trying to see the game here. This is
Well, I think that
that's
was
the
the whole.
autograph.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the whole season.
the whole season, 73. Pretty neat. Spalding back in the day. And they even have autograph here for all the autographs that are on it. Yours is like mine, Tyler. I've got some baseballs I can't see. There's a bunch of names there. 1973 season. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more of Tyler Lafosse, who's joining us today, who's now lives in Baton Rouge from New Orleans, Louisiana. We'll be right back.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report podcast. We're at the Giulio Brothers Italian Restaurant on Perkins Road. Be sure to support them. They support our show. They love high school football, college football. We do baseball too. We'll have a little more baseball as baseball kind of gets rared up. I'm a baseball fan. My dad had me playing track and baseball, football, basketball was short, but hey man, you do what you can growing up. But anything that involved athletics back in the 70s and 80s, we did it. And I want to show this football. This is 1973 Auburn game ball. LSU won at Auburn. And Tyler he was mentioning that the year before in 72, LSU beat them pretty good. But 73, they were really wanting LSU's.
Absolutely. They were ready for us. They had a top 10 team, and we played at Auburn, and we had a great game against them. Their fans were ready, but we quieted them down. And I'll always remember that game. That was a very, very special game because they had a lot of talent, and we went in there and we actually destroyed them in their home, geared up and everything. That was one of
only because of running the ball back then. This could have been a lot more points. You know?
Yeah, and that's their ball.
That's their ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Auburn University on it.
Yeah, I took that ball.
Tyler's got Auburn's ball. Yeah, he probably had to put the score on it because they did probably 20-6. Going back to your high school days, Tyler, in New Orleans.
Yeah.
De La Salle and Coach Zimmerman and all the great players that came out of there. The late Marquise Hill.
Right.
Derek Pope that played fullback at LSU. Jordy Holtberg in basketball at LSU. The late Mike Cobb, who passed away this year, was an O-lineman in the 80s. Carl Hankton played for the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
And I just thought of something. The school was started in 1949. My mom was born in 49.
Amen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stars connecting. But what was it like growing up in New Orleans during that time and playing for your old high school?
Look, I was always growing up. I was always too big to play playground ball because they had weight limits. Well, when I went to De La Salle, that was my first time playing organized football.
Huh.
We didn't. Because I went out of the district, I lived in Metairie in Kenner.
Okay.
I went out of the district, so I had to sit out a year. So my first year playing any kind of organized football was
Ninth grade.
Was 10th grade.
10th.
Because I couldn't play as a freshman. So it was 10th
The old
grade.
days, yeah,
Old school. And so De La Salle was, they had changed coaching staffs back then, and I had a coach by the name of Jimmy Stubbs who played at McNeese, very fundamental, and I credited him with just teaching me the fundamentals of football. And then, it just blossomed after that.
Unbelievable. Tyler was an O-lineman at LSU, offensive guard, but played D-line when Mac needed him on defense in high school. O-D-line?
I was actually, look, God blessed me with abilities and talents. I was all-state as an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman.
In 71, you were D lineman at LSU, right?
Yeah,
Before you
71.
switched,
I
before
was.
you switched to.
Yeah, Coach McClendon called me 2 weeks before the season started in 71 and asked me, because they had some changes, people had grades and things, transfers, and he asked me if I wouldn't mind playing defensive line. What am I say?
Can't tell
I
Mac
said,
no.
I said, no, I don't mind, Coach. Well, I knew it was going to be tough because Coach Craig Randall was a defensive line coach. He was very fundamental, and he was tough. He was just a tough guy. So it was myself, Ronnie Estee were the defensive tackles. I knew people weren't going to run to Ronnie. They're coming to me,
coming to you.
and so it was an enlightening season, Lee.
Speaking of your teammates, and we can't talk about everybody, so please don't get offended if we don't mention the whole team. The teams weren't as big back then, but no scholarship limits back then too. But Burt Jones being your quarterback for most of your time there, Art Cantrell, very
Running
colorful
back.
guy.
Yes.
Andy Hamilton,
Great wide receiver.
missionary work to this day. I believe.
Yeah, he's missionary in China.
Mike DeMary, O-lineman, great player at LSU.
Mike was a great offensive lineman. In fact, in 71, I'd have been behind him until I moved to defensive line.
Jack Joubert ended up being a great
Center.
artist, painter.
Yeah, Jack.
Lloyd Daniel, who you call your twin,
Yeah, Lloyd and I
built the
were
same.
offensive guards together.
Franklinton, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Ronnie Estee, Tyler talked about. Louis Cascio was a great linebacker.
Great middle linebacker.
Warren Capone, Boyd Perry, linebacker. Tommy Casanova, John Nagel, Norm Hodgins, DB. Jim Gainey, D-line.
Yes.
And Tyler Lafosse right here, D-line. And then we'll talk about the 72 Mike Miley. You had an interesting story about Mike's had to wait because Burt was
Right.
there.
That's right. In 72, Burt was our quarterback. 73, Mike Miley stepped up. And Mike did a great job playing just 1 year. Great leader. Looking back, Mike could have played any place.
Yeah.
He left after that year, and he was the #1 draft pick of California Angels.
Yeah.
And started there at shortstop.
East Jefferson High School player, Mike Miley playground in New Orleans. Brad Boyd, you said, was a great tight end.
Great, one of the greatest tight ends in LSU history.
Jimmy Ledoux, receiver / running back. Mike Williams, the first player at LSU.
Yeah.
Minority football player. The
That's
first one.
right, that's
Mike
right.
went to San Diego Chargers.
Oh yeah, he was a great player, had a great NFL career.
Great DB, big guy, man. Could play. Brad Davis, running
Brad
back.
Davis.
Steve Rogers.
But that combination, my senior year, Brad Davis, Mike Rogers, they were Steve Rogers. I mean, they were. I love to block for them. They got better as the game went on.
Tough. Pepper Rutland, linebacker, and finally Bo Harris that played for the Bengals with Casanova,
Cincinnati Bengals.
linebacker.
Yes.
Shreveport guy.
Yes.
Captain Shreve High School. Great characters on this team. I've met a lot of these guys.
Yeah, that's good. Some you've mentioned, some you haven't mentioned.
We can't get into all the stories.
No, we don't want to do that.
But characters, like you have
Yeah.
artists to
Yes.
missionary
Doctors.
to arm wrestlers.
Yeah, oh yeah.
With Art Cantrell.
Oh yeah.
Was everybody scared of Art? That's the story.
Everybody, let me tell you, everybody had a healthy respect for Art Cantrell. Let me put it that way.
Toughest guy. They said nobody could beat him in arm wrestling. And nobody told him no.
Nobody told him no.
Andy Hamilton, what a great guy.
Oh, great receiver. I remember when I was defensive line, we shared lockers next to each other. Great character, great receiver, great person.
Got to take a break, but your friend, we can't leave out the kicker, who was your teammate. who lives in Baton Rouge now that you still talk to.
David Stevenson?
No, your punter kicker from LSU. I'm gonna bring him. We're gonna bring it back. I'm trying to make sure we don't leave out special teams guys from back in the day. But we're going to mention some former LSU players that on this team. We couldn't mention everybody, but I think Chuck Williamson was on that team too, and was a tight end and local guy. But a lot of guys. We're going to take a break and be right back with more Tyler Lafosse.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. Look, be sure to subscribe, especially if you want the older crowd, that it's free. Hit that subscription button when you see YouTube. It helps us grow. We're getting there. We're only 200 or 300 away to being in the thousands to grow and get those big companies and everybody to support us. But hit the subscribe button. It's free to do that, and then you get the shows sent to you. So do that, and we're doing 2 a week. I'm about to go back to doing 3 a week. Continuing on, before we go back to Tyler Lafosse, another game ball, Colorado, 1973, 17-6. You said this is a game that sticks out to you.
That was a great game. That was our my senior first game.
Is this Colorado's ball?
I don't think so. I don't know.
This is LSU's.
That was a game ball that I have. But Colorado had a great team back then, and they had come down 2 years to play us in Tiger Stadium, and they were building their program. They had some great athletes back then.
We want to mention, because I was trying to remember, but one teammate we got to mention that who's in Baton Rouge to this day, the last straight-ahead kicker for LSU, teammate Mark Lumpkin.
Mark Lumpkin, the last straight-on field goal kicker, very consistent, great athlete, actually threw the javelin as well.
Competed in Senior Olympics, didn't he?
Yeah, to this day, extremely good athlete and does a lot of good work here in Baton Rouge.
Growing up, when I was probably 9 or 10, I remember the Houston Oilers had a guy named Tony Frisch. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember the name.
He was straight ahead.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy, that's kind of strange, Dad. He's like, well, whatever works.
That's right.
You said punter-wise when you were at LSU, Tyler. I'm laughing because I know I've met Ronnie yesterday. But you said Ronnie was a punter for LSU.
Ronnie was our punter in 1971.
D-tackle.
Defensive tackle, and just switched sides of the ball and punted the ball. Coach McClendon wanted him to punt and did a great job.
That's what I was going to say, a big D-tackle. You don't see D-tackles
punt.
punt.
No.
Could he hit the spiral?
I wasn't really looking. I was on the sideline trying to recuperate.
Hoping it went the other way.
That's right.
He did a good enough job.
He did a great job. Ronnie's a great athlete.
Won 5 or 6 titles. Don't get mad at me, Ronnie, but world champion 5 or 6 times in the Canadian League.
Correct.
Has all the rings to prove it.
Absolutely.
Speaking of LSU, what do you think currently with Coach Kelly?
Looking at where he started to now, I think he's done a great job.
Does he remind you anybody, Tyler, like of all the coaches? He reminds me of Arnsparger.
Very businesslike, knows what he's got. I mean, you're right. That is a great comparison.
A lot of former LSU players tell me that the way he approaches the game and knows the game.
Yes. He's very secure in what he's doing, and it's proven 1 year, what he's done in 1 year. I thought it was fabulous.
They're going to be preseason top 10. Some might have them top 5. Do you like the preseason rankings when you were a player, or do you like the underdog ranking?
Lee, back then, it wasn't a big emphasis for us.
Yeah.
we knew what we had to do, and we played no matter where we were ranked.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a big thing for us.
Now, what was a big thing, though, because I grew up as a kid watching Bob Hope. I was little, but anything Bob Hope was on, my mom and dad watched Bob Hope. And I remember he had the All-American teams. And then you reminded me that you were on his All-American team on TV, but you said there was no rehearsal with Bob Hope.
No. I mean, they brought us to the studio, and we were waiting for him. And when he came, things started and took place. And we were all day there for that segment, which lasted maybe 2 minutes. And look, we had some of the greatest players, John Cappelletti.
Oh, Penn State.
My gosh, some great Lynn Swan
Wow,
from USC. The great defensive lineman Randy White.
Whoa, Maryland.
Yeah,
Dallas Cowboys.
yeah.
Those were all that same year, Tyler?
Yeah, Tony Dorsett was
Whoa,
one of the
Pittsburgh.
running backs. Yeah. So we had a great group of guys. We had a great time together. And we were on Bob Hope's show. That was the first time I had been anywhere like that. Look, we had some free time. So I went out to a hotel, New York City. I said, well, I'm staying on this street. So I went
safe.
one way and I came back
That
the
was
other
it.
way. That was it. That was a great experience.
Did you hit it off with any particular player more than any of them? Cappelletti, Dorsett? any
Yeah,
of the guys?
we all had that bond, that unity. It was a great group of guys that I really enjoyed being around.
Bob Hope always had the one-liner joke, whatever you got.
Yes. He made some kind of joke about my height.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Had to go there. Huh?
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is Tyler's LSU. This is heavy now. LSU Hall of Fame. That's a cool little Mike the Tiger inside. 71 to 73, All-American 73. This is pretty good. They don't make it like this
They don't
anymore,
make
huh?
those, yeah. I think they give rings back then, but I really enjoyed getting that.
That's incredible. 1973, and I think we got a little bit more time left, but before we end, anybody you want to thank, Tyler, all these years, going back to high school, college, and your work as a PT, anybody that has made a big impact, obviously besides
The Lord,
The Lord,
yeah. I thank God, number one, for giving me the talents and abilities that I possessed. Like I said, I really never played football until my sophomore year at De La Salle. Then I went to LSU, and he guided me into physical therapy profession for 44 years. I'm overwhelmed every time I think about the blessings that he's blessed me with. But my first exposure to football at De La Salle was fantastic. And that's where I learned some fundamentals about being a lineman, both offense and defense. And then I went to LSU, and I had a great experience at LSU with the offensive coaches as well as the defensive coaches. And it's just been a great athletic career for me, post going into the physical therapy profession, helping people. Even to this day, I've really enjoyed doing what I've done.
Well, tell everybody too, because give your family a plug. I know you've raised some daughters.
I've got my wife, Linda, who's a physical therapist.
Okay.
We're in school together. What a blessing to me. My 4 daughters. And now I have 9 grandchildren.
Wow. There you go.
6 boys and 3 girls.
You stay busy.
Stay busy, yeah.
And how many of them in sports?
Basically all of them. Now I've got 5 of them playing baseball.
You got a calendar.
It's so busy now.
You're not retired.
No.
This is fun though for you.
Oh yeah, it's been great to see them blossom and progress and do what they're doing. It's been great.
I want to dedicate this show again to my mom. Her full name was Dolores Marie LeBlanc. Her maiden name Thompson. Born in 1949, July 19th. Lived to March the 1st. With a 10-year battle of cancer. If you read the magazine, Louisiana Football Magazine, she was with me from day one. Really the anchor to the magazine of where I am today, what she's done. And she really enjoyed helping kids get scholarships. She enjoyed what we did, Tyler. And that's what brought a smile to her face every day. Not many people knew her, but I want to make sure everybody knew who my mom was. She was the behind the scenes.
That's great.
Did everything.
That's great. Absolutely.
God bless you. Thank you for joining.
I appreciate it.
Had a good time talking LSU.
I did. I enjoy it. It's a bit, like I said, it's an honor to be here.
Appreciate Tyler Lafosse joining us. Have to say this before we go. I met Charlie McClendon as a 4-year-old with my dad in 1974, right when you finished.
Wow.
When no one needed to sign a practice form. When you just go to practice.
Yes.
I went in the stadium. Charlie Mack gave me a poster from 74 preseason.
Wow.
Handed it to me. And I saw Mike the Tiger 5 minutes before. I was an LSU fan for life.
Wow.
And to this day. And met Charlie Mack 5 years before he passed away at an LSU alumni convention in Houston, Texas.
Wow.
Sat with him at this little Mexican villa.
Uh-huh.
And talked to him and said, Coach, honored to meet you because my dad talked about you. You know, when I'd listen to the radio, no TV.
No TV.
3 channels.
Yeah, Coach Mack was a very loyal person to his players as well as his coaches.
And off the field, very calm.
Low key. Yeah, very low key, very down to earth.
Appreciate you, Tyler.
Absolutely, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad those helmets are better now.
I am so glad for that as
Footballs.
well.
Tyler Lafosse, former
Yeah.
LSU All-American. Appreciate everybody for watching. Again, hit the subscribe button. It's free, and share it with all your friends. And if you want to get it on podcasts, go to Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you later.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.